So Elon Musk, you've probably heard of him, right? The eccentric billionaire, the guy behind Tesla and SpaceX. But honestly, the story behind all the headlines is one of just extreme, almost unbelievable perseverance. We're going to explore the mindset that took him from a really rough childhood all the way to the edge of the cosmos.
And this quote, this really says it all. Never. I don't ever give up. You know, that single idea, that's pretty much the key to understanding his entire career. It's a mindset that was forged in the face of some just incredible adversity. And it's the engine that's been driving his ambition ever since. And that's the real question, isn't it? How does somebody go from sleeping on an office couch to aiming for Mars? I mean, that journey is just wild. It's a trip from having absolutely nothing to chasing what's probably the most audacious goal in all of human history. So to really get it, we've got to go back, all the way to the beginning.
All right, an unlikely beginning. And yeah, forget Silicon Valley for a minute. Our story kicks off in Pretoria, South Africa. It's a place that's a world away from tech startups, and let me tell you, Musk's childhood there was anything but easy. And he didn't mince words. He's described his childhood as very violent and unhappy. Musk has been pretty open about this time in his life. He said that his father, Elon Musk, was emotionally and physically abusive, and it created what he called a terrible home environment. And you have to think this wasn't just some obstacle to get over. It probably created this intense drive to build a completely different reality, one that he could actually control. And it wasn't just his experience. Just listen to his mother, Mae Musk, talking about her marriage, being told 3 times a day that she's boring and stupid and ugly. Man, that's a reality that's either going to completely break a person or forge them into steel. So from code to cash, the first spark of genius. Because despite all that chaos going on at home, something remarkable was happening. This incredible intellect and this just unstoppable drive started to show up, and at a really, really young age. Just look at how fast this all happened. His mother said she knew he was a genius at age 3, just because of the way he could reason things out. By age 10, he taught himself how to program computers. And then just 2 years after that, he'd already created and sold his first video game. He was already an entrepreneur. $500. That's how much he made. He sold his first video game, a little space shooter he called Blaster, to a computer magazine. I mean, at 12 years old. He had his first real taste of turning code into cash. And that had to be a crucial spark for him.
Next up, eating glass in Silicon Valley. The price of a dream. Okay, so after university, Musk headed for what he called the holy promised land of tech, right? Silicon Valley. But the reality he found there, it was a far cry from some kind of paradise. With his very first company, Zip2, money was so tight he literally had to make a choice. Get an office to work in or get an apartment to live in. He couldn't do both. So what did he do? He chose the office. He slept on the couch and showered at the local YMCA. From the absolute get-go, it was mission first. Comfort? Well, comfort didn't even make the list. This is actually how he describes that period. It's like eating glass and staring into the abyss. I mean, that is such a brutal, visceral image, isn't it? But it perfectly captures the psychological toll of just pouring everything you have into an idea with absolutely zero guarantee of success. But that gamble, it paid off in a huge way. After just a little over 3 years, Compaq came along and acquired Zip2. And the contrast here is just staggering. He started with $2,000 and a computer. The payout? $22 million in his pocket. Just like that, boom, he was a dot-com millionaire. All right, so now he's the dot-com millionaire. Success, failure, and $1 million car. So what do you do when you suddenly have millions of dollars? Well, if you're Elon Musk, you buy a $1 million McLaren F1, and then you immediately risk all that new money on an even bigger idea. So he poured $10 million of his own money into an online bank called X.com. The growth was absolutely explosive. But then there was a boardroom coup. And get this, while he was away on his honeymoon, he got fired as CEO of his own company. I mean, what a devastating blow, right? But the story, it wasn't over yet. Because when eBay bought the company, now renamed PayPal, Musk walked away with $165 million. He was now wealthier than ever, and he finally had enough capital to chase the really big dreams he'd had since he first got to Silicon Valley: sustainable energy and space. Okay, buckle up, because this is where the story gets truly insane. We're talking 2 days from bankruptcy, the abyss of 2008. He took all of his PayPal money and poured every last bit of it into 2 new companies, Tesla and SpaceX. And for a long time, it looked like he was about to lose absolutely everything. The year 2008 was just a perfect storm of awful. First, the global financial crisis hits, which means all investment money just evaporates. At the same time, both Tesla and SpaceX are just hemorrhaging cash, they're nearing bankruptcy, and on top of all of that, his first marriage ends in divorce. Literally, everything, personal and professional, was collapsing at once.
Less than 10%. That's the probability of success that Musk himself gave to both companies. He even told his friends don't invest because he didn't want to be the one to lose their money. He was staring into that abyss all over again, but this time, the stakes were hundreds of millions of dollars higher.
And this was at Christmas in 2008. He said we were only a few days from bankruptcy. It was literally 2 days or 3 days maybe. Think about that. While the rest of the world is celebrating, he is days away from total financial ruin. With absolutely everything on the line, he had one last desperate bet left to make: pour the very last of his personal money into both companies just to keep them alive.
Which brings us to the Mars endgame. Beyond cars, towards the stars. Because that last bet, it paid off. Both Tesla and SpaceX survived. And after pulling back from the brink, Musk could finally focus on his true endgame, the entire reason he started SpaceX in the first place.
And this is what it's all about. You see, SpaceX was never just about building cheaper rockets or winning government contracts. The goal, right from day one, has been about ensuring the long-term survival of consciousness itself by making humanity a multi-planetary species.
And he's got a plan to do it. Okay, sure, the timeline has shifted, but the core goals have pretty much stayed the same. Get humans to Mars, slash the cost of the trip down to about the price of an average US house, and then establish a completely self-sustaining civilization there. The sheer scale of this ambition is it's difficult to even comprehend. And this quote right here, it just brings us completely full circle. What's more important, Mars or a house? I like Mars. I mean, this is from the exact same guy who gave up an apartment to sleep on an office couch. His priorities have always been laser-focused. He is still willing to trade personal comfort for the mission. It's the same math, just on a planetary scale. So, what do we take away from all this? His story really forces us to ask a pretty fundamental question. I mean, from an abusive household in Pretoria, to sleeping on a couch, to being on the absolute edge of bankruptcy, he has consistently pushed way past what anyone thought was possible. It just leaves you wondering, what are the true limits of a singular obsessive vision?